do you say when there are no words? Feel a song that's never been heard. How do you know when you hear the call? What do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, 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 cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea. Ball, cannonball. What do you do when the mountain is there? How do you answer the challenging day? And when your back's against the wall, what do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, 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 cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can't fake it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea. Cannonball. Hey, now cannonball. 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 Cannonball.
Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, morning, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers, and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing Project R2 GT3D Tier 1 round number 9 for Season 11 here at the Texas Motor Speedway Road Circuit. My name is King-Kodiak, and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box in charge of the cameras is the god himself. It is Yorkie.
Hello, guys. Welcome to the stream. Looking forward to this one after I was unfortunately absent from last week's reverse grid longer endurance race, but this one is going to be interesting. Not a track that too many drivers are going to be familiar with.
No, indeed, it's not one that GT3 tends to visit on a regular basis. Some endurance races might know it, although typically it's not Texas as run for that. It's usually Daytona or Indianapolis. So yeah, this is going to be one of these tracks that doesn't have kind of that inherent knowledge that some tracks do, like Spa or Silverstone or Suzuka or things like that any racing driver has raced countless times on any simulator they can throw their talent at. So yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting. 10 turns, and yeah, the infield section is quite narrow and very, very tricky. And also, as you can quite clearly see, it is dark. It's dry, but it's 1 o'clock in the morning for qualifying, 3 a.m. for the race, so that will affect kind of how the tyres behave a little bit. And we have got 21 drivers vying for supremacy here this evening, and starting to see some times come on the board. Of course, Jardier is one of the early guys getting a time in for 1:14.481. Benizidi, Rodders is getting in there. Oh, Dalking's actually just jumped to the top. Nice effort, 14.2. And yeah, people are not hanging around to get their times on the board.
No, we're just on board with Leon, and he goes and pops himself up into third place. I'm actually kind of intrigued as to how these GT3 cars actually take this bank section. It looks like they can actually do it flat out, so that's going to provide some interesting racing when it actually comes round to the racing. But at the moment, we have ourselves a championship fight on our hands. Currently, this man, Jardier, is leading it with 360 points, but his rival, who has just been now has now been knocked down to 5th position, Leon the sixth one with 310 points. There's 55 points difference, so Leon really does need to get the win here, and something needs to go quite drastically wrong for Jardier in order for Leon to be enemy with real chance come the final round next week.
Yeah, absolutely. CJB jumping up to 5th. Jardier now getting into the 13s. We're on 39.09, and whoa, no sooner did we say that Dowking. Wow, good trading punches at the top. Dowking with 13.423, knocking the mighty Lemon Lambo, and there he is in the white and pink Lamborghini coming around one of the Audis and just beating the BMW out. That's a little bit hairy coming into turn 3. That didn't go quite Dowking's ways. He's jumped back to the pits. Just over 5 minutes remain, so plenty of time for them to get their laps in. ZJB has now jumped up to second, 1:13.881. Wow, it's pretty tight. Of course, this is a very short lap. 47 racing laps going on in this particular circuit, but looking at these times, we are in for Villalobos jumping up to 6th. Wow, that's a Z4, isn't it? Yeah, he's... Wow, that's a little close to Scott in the mighty Bentley.
Yep.
Look at the gap between CJB and Jardier. Wow, that's close.
Yeah, things are really, really heating up at the front here, and I think a number of drivers are actually picking up a little bit of slipstream, which is going to be helping them out. Obviously, Scott is currently down in 15th position. He's giving Villalobos a bit of a tow, but obviously he has hurt Villalobos' lap in the infield section, so I'm sure these guys will be wanting to slip past each other. Scott doesn't want to lose too much time as he wants to try and get himself higher up the leaderboard, and that's Villalobos jumping back to the pits, and so does Scott actually. Leon has now got himself up into 3rd, just behind Jardier, as you were pointing out. CJB has now been demoted down to 4th position. Benazili is currently holding 5th in his Lamborghini with 8th the ace and 7th. Jamie Suk in 8th place. Tapak is there in 9th, and he is just coming out of the pits now. And then 2 Desert Pack in his Audi is there in the top 10. No, 2 Desert Pack isn't in the Audi. He's in the Lamborghini. Interesting.
Has he changed cars? He was Audi, wasn't he?
He was an Audi, yes.
Yeah.
It does seem like he has changed cars.
Yeah, we haven't seen that black livery, so yeah, he's changed car at the last minute, so any points he has scored has gone for the final 2 rounds. Oh, wow, that's determined into turn 4 for Tudez, throwing the Lamborghini around the corner, and that chicane there is really tight, very easy to get wrong, so we may see a few people kind of make a mistake there, possibly go a little bit too wide off that section, as Tudez is coming past the green Lamborghini. He's coming behind the Merc. 78 thousandths of a second between Dowking and now Leon in 2nd. Leon was really close to the back of Jardier, only about 400s in it or something like that. Now has beaten the mighty Lambo. We've got less than 3 minutes to go. There is the ace in the green and black. Oh, he's gone up to 5th then with a 14.083. That's getting a little bit hairy coming into turn 3. Who's he chasing? I'm not sure which of the Lambos he's... That's very close.
CJB.
Who is in 4th then, 13.881. So close on track and in qualifying position at the moment. Leon is back at the pits. He has got time to come out and do another lap if he so chooses to, but he hasn't got too much. Oh, no sooner do I say that, and out he comes. CJB gets out of the way. Oh, the ace. Overcooked that one. If he's got the fuel on board to do another one, he's got the time to do it, but it is... Ooh, that's going to be cutting it a bit fine. Should just about be able to do it, but...
I would have thought it would be okay. I don't think it's going to be a track that's going to be too long or too expensive on fuel, so I imagine he's probably got certainly a lap, maybe 2 laps worth of fuel there in the tank for him. But CJB is actually coming back after his mistake, trying to pick up a little bit of slipstream. CJB going to the inside. We are commentating on some racing here in qualifying, and APA's bounce off his lap. So let's actually stick with CJB as he's just started a lap. We know that he is on a hot one. Quick flash of the lights for the car in front of him, wanting to get that shooter 80 out of the way, which he does so quite nicely. We're now coming down in towards turn 4, the long right-handed hairpin. It's important to get a good exit coming out of here. You then pop over a little bit of a crest and then through the very quick left-right of the chicane that King-Kodiak was talking about, and then into quite a hard braking zone for this long right-handed hairpin here. Is not very much braking reference that you can be used on the outside, and then again we're coming into another hairpin before rejoining onto the bank section, and from here on out it's going to be flat out hard on the accelerator. It's just all about getting that nice line coming through this banking section, trying to minimize any tire scrub and make sure that you maintain the speed and momentum. Try and keep that up as high as possible. Dowking is not going to be setting another lap. CJB is coming to the line, currently 4th. Does he improve his position? He does. He jumps ahead of Jardier up into 3rd. Leon, the 6th one, has just gone into the pit, so jumping on board with Jardier, it seems like he's going to be on a quick lap now. He's only got 10 seconds left, but that's not going to matter as he's going to be able to finish this lap. So King-Kodiak, talk us through the rest of this, one of the final laps that we'll see here from Jardier in this qualifying session.
Through the hairpin of turn 4, then he's gone over to the right hand side, as Yorkie mentioned, to get as decent a run through that very narrow chicane as he can through 5 and 6. Now heavy braking zone for the next hairpin of turn 7. Keeps the car fairly well settled, slides it around turn 7. Now heading towards the next hairpin of 8. It's trying to control the slide, doesn't want to go too far out to the tyre wall, and gets a decent run then to minimise the steering angle coming through the long turn 9. What's he going to achieve then? It's just flat out now from here to the flag. Just lets the car run out wide. He's going to take the apex of 10. Does he improve? He does in time, but not in position. He remains in 4th with a 13.686. That's ironically one of the worst qualifyings we've had from Jardier this season, and it's still a pretty decent 4th. Typek is in 10th, 1:14.486. What does he do as one of the other members jumped out of the way? Stays down to the bottom of the apron, and now just catches the apex of 10, straight lines to the line. He did improve.
5th.
Oh, what an effort then, right behind Jardier. So there it is, the official qualifying standings. Dowking hung on to that podium. Very nicely done. Then it is Leon, then CJB, Jardier, Typek, ADA, Suomi, Benazzetti, Villalobos, Gamasuki, Tudozapank, Dakuza, Rodders, and Nagrim. Andrex is, what's he running today? He's running the Mercedes.
SLS.
And then it's T-Mac, Turing, Bo, JK, Scott, and Shooter. Wow, they didn't go well for Scott and the Bentley this time.
No, I don't think it's going to be a track that's going to be too great for the Bentley. Some of those slow turns, I imagine it'll be quite difficult to actually get the big boat hooked into the corners. It'll be decent coming around the banking sections and the straights. Have plenty of torque there and get up and go. So it'll be quite a good one to actually watch come through the field in this race. But yeah, just in this 2-minute interim period, just while the guys get themselves sorted, get themselves comfortable, make sure they're sat in the correct seating position, they've got their correct race setup loaded, and they are all set for their mandatory pit stop that they'll have to take in this race.
Indeed. Now, from what I understand, the tyres will not hold. We should be seeing most, if not everybody, actually do. It rather depends on what tyres they run. The hard tyres just do not get up to temperature, so I'm informed. Different people, different setups, different driving styles, etc., etc. There's always a bit of wiggle room. But the hard tyres typically do not keep they just don't get up to temperature. The soft tyres will not last the entire race. So everybody, or most people, are likely to have their tyres changed, which means a considerably longer pit stop than they would normally do. So that's really going to play into that. But then some people may choose to risk it and just see how well they can keep the car on the track. So yeah, I think we're going to see a much more emphasis put on the pit stop this time. Yeah, our top 6 all Lamborghinis, then Villalobos in the BMW. Then it's then I think the rest are all Lamborghinis throughout the top 10. Who else?
Yep.
I think so. Yep. I'm kind of looking at the lights and trying to see through them. There's D'Acusa.
D'Acusa's in the M6, so he's the next non-Lamborghini driver after Benazili in 9th place, because obviously Benazili's in the in that Z4.
Villalobos
coming
in the
to. Sorry, yes, my mistake. Correct.
Right.
That is Villalobos in the Z4, and there's all sorts of various other cars. And Leon is quite Jodier is quite eager to get this.
Wouldn't he just?
underway? Yeah.
He was very keen to get on with it, wasn't he? But yeah, so the Lamborghinis really hammer the rule of the roost here today. Doesn't mean that's how they'll end up. It's just how they start. As Yorkie mentioned, the slipstream could well play a very important part of the particular race, particularly when the cars are heavy. So we'll see how well that holds. Of course, people don't want to be dragging their opponents around with them, so we may see some unusual driving lines to try and break the tow. But we could see, as tends to be the case in stock car racing, for instance, just a very large clumps of cars, particularly close by one another. So yeah, this could really go anyone's way. And one mistake along that banking section, again, much like NASCAR, can have very, very disastrous consequences.
Yep, the guys are going to have to be very much aware as to the other cars around them and making sure that they're giving room and trying not to squeeze them too much up against the walls or down onto the apron and the lower sections of the banking. But this will be an interesting one. Obviously, night race, accelerated tyre wear, which is probably playing a big factor into the fact that the guys can't make a full race length on one set of tyres. So it will be interesting if anyone has taken the hards and if they can get them up to temperature and maintain temperature and see if they can do this race without making that stop. But the guys now forming into their 2x2 formation for the race start.
Indeed, so Dowking will lead them around to the start-finish line at this reduced speed. 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour, which Dowking then has. It is up to him as to when he floors it to signify the beginning of the race. And look how close everybody is. It's just the real tension-building moments at this particular point before they floor it. And there we go. We are racing here at Texas. Of course, a good start by Dowking. A very quick reaction there by Leon and CJB. CJB is going to have the inside line coming into turns 1 and 2. That's already gifted him second. Jardier has lost the position to Typek. Villalobos sliding right behind 88. Here they come in. Big braking zone of turn 3. Wow, the top 5 doing okay to hang on to that. There is Leon and Typek. Typek up to third now. Oh, there goes some road cones. A few people going a little bit wide. Typek and Leon still side by side now. Coming through turn 4. Jardier trying to get in there and get up the field a bit. He doesn't have... And he now slots behind Typek. It's very easy to push too hard too soon, but these guys all know the score. And now flying down, there he goes, diving on the inside of... Oh, bit of a door banging between himself and Typek. Typek's hung on to it. Can he try and do... No, I did wonder whether he was going to try and fight back straight away. And now jumps into position then. Oh, Typek didn't have a good run through that turn 7. And on they go then. No major incidents, it seems. Everyone has made it through the first lap unscathed.
Yep, it looks like it. One of the main winners, though, that we're seeing from this first lap is Scott. He's managed to get himself up into 15th place. I believe that's a good 5 or so positions that he has gained. Bit of a gap forming between two Desert Pack and Villalobos in front of him, as we can see. That looks like that's not Andrex, that's Rodders, who's going around the outside up on the high part of the banking there. Got one of the Lamborghinis in front of him. Suomi's giving a little bit of a tow. There's 2 other Lamborghinis there. Oh, Suomi's split the wall. He's going deep. Does he actually keep it out? Yes, he does manage to keep it out of the tyres. Rodders is going to have to be very much away. He's on his outside, but he's managing to regain track position without losing too much time as Rodders goes and loses the position to Gamasuk, who makes a opportunistic move and manages to slot himself up into 11th position, jumping back up to the front. Jardier all over the rear bumper of Leon directly in front of him in 3rd position.
Great racing then throughout the field, as we come to expect from our T1 racers. Now coming through the very tight turn 8 on back onto the oval section. Dalking leads CJB, leads Leon, leads Jardier. Typek is less than a second behind. Who's got 88 in the short succession? Villalobos still in 7th. 2 days 8. Bilizidi 9 and Suomi rounding out the top 10 as we were looking at previously. Through the last couple of turns, over the line they come. And still look at CJB. He's really in the slipstream. Half for the race lead at the moment. Leon has got a decent ringside seat for the pair of them. Here comes CJB. That's the effect of the slipstream, but he's, of course, Dalking hanging on to the inside line, forcing CJB to the outside. As long as Dalking gets his braking right, he should hang on fairly comfortably to the lead. Leon had a look on the inside of turn 3, but cannot make that move. Look at that. Each car separated by not even 0.3 of a second between each Lamborghini as they come through turn 3. Looks like Jardier shaping up a move on Leon. He's done this twice already this race. Is he going to dive on the inside of turn 6? No, he opted not to go for that. Leon went for the defensive move very early to keep Jardier behind.
Yep. Very, very close racing by these 4 guys as we come into the braking zone. Oh, very, very close there by Jardier. Almost touching the back of Leon's left rear, but it looks like they managed to avoid contact, or if there was any, it was going to be minimal. It looks like Villalobos has got himself a penalty, and that's a 2-second cut track penalty that he's picked up so far, as we haven't been anywhere near the pit lane as of yet. But once again, coming around the banking section of this short lap, CJB is going to be looking to try and pick up that slipstream once again. Hopefully not run too deep this time coming into the braking zone. Here he comes, picking up that slipstream once again. Dalking going defensive to the inside. This time, however, CJB does manage to get back into the apex, which does allow him to hold on to that position from Leon. But I think Leon is relatively close. I thought he was looking to the inside, but CJB was just taking a bit more of a wider line into the entry of the corner, hooking up a decent apex and trying to focus on getting a good exit.
But again, he can't focus too much in front as Jardier, that mighty lemon Lamborghini, has all over the rear wing. He's having a look on the outside, coming into turn 8, and no, he doesn't commit to that one. He's just keeping the pressure royally on. I mean, we've got 42 racing laps to complete, so no point in pushing too hard too soon. And Dalking's had a good run coming back onto the banking section, getting half a second between himself and CJB. Leon then is now in a prime attacking position on CJB for that second position, and looking slightly further back behind Jardier, Typek and 88 in their battle, but they are 3 seconds behind this leading pack. So look at that, almost equidistant between the 4 leading Lambos now. And again, Dalking is still feeling the need to defend coming into turn 3. And that bunches all the Lambos up again. But this fight is going to be very tense for a very long time, I think. And again, look how early Dalking commits to defending that apex line. Whether he's just choosing to take an early apex, I wouldn't think so, because that would then really make the run through this chicane much harder if he's committed to the apex that early. So I think he's feeling the need to defend at every opportunity against CJB. It's Leon, he's going to have the inside. He's forced CJB wide. That was a mistake from CJB, and Leon capitalised. Nicely done. That's Leon up to 6 miles. Well.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a bump there from CJB when trying to come back up the inside onto the rear of Leon's car. That's forced Leon wide. This could be Jardier's opportunity to jump ahead of that green Lamborghini of Leon if Jardier can pick up that slipstream coming down this straight. Obviously the guy's going too wide. Leon's been forced high up the banking. He's going to have to stay there whilst CJB's on his inside. That's very nearly contact, very, very nearly dangerous for both of those guys. All 3 of them had to back out. This could be Dalking's chance to escape. Don't make it 3 wide coming into here. A little bit of contact there between Leon and Jardier. CJB has gone deep. That's going to allow Leon up into 2nd place. Contact between Jardier and CJB as CJB was trying to come back to the circuit and hold onto the position. It looks like he's managed to hold on to 3rd at the moment. Jardier having to slot in behind and retain that 4th position. Leon has managed to gain that place up into 2nd, and he's now going to want to be trying to focus on Dalking up ahead, see if he can close that gap and see if he can get himself up into the lead position and try and run away from Jardier the best that he possibly can.
Wow, Jardier really had to fight in that sequence of events, that sequence of corners to try and make a move on CJB, but he was the green and black Lamborghini having none of that. Coming further down the field, that's Typek and Benazili that's side by side. This is a battle for 7th position. The black, blue and white Lamborghini on the bottom of the corner, then just managed to nose ahead. Can the green Lambo, Typek, do anything about it? Now coming through the final turn, that's going to drag all the way down, and they're going to have to go 3 wide because right ahead of Benazili is Gamasuki, so he could well be involved in the particular battle. There's the slipstream for Benazili. Oh, this could be interesting. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers coming into turn 3? And that's forcing Benazili to the outside on the particular turn. No, he settles behind Gamasuki. There behind his ABAs. Oh no! What on earth happened? Well, we know what happened. Typek slams into the back of Gamasuki, but what on earth happened to Gamasuki there?
I think Gamasuki just lit up the tyres coming out the exit of the corner, and it just lost control of the rear of the car and then ended up spinning whilst trying to fight it. Typek has managed to rejoin the track in a relatively safe fashion back into 14th. Gamasuki has now dropped down into 15th, but both of them would have suffered quite substantial damage from that contact. Very, very unfortunate. I think Typek just had nowhere to go with Gamasuki spinning in front of him, and it was Benazili managing to avoid that, as we now got Bo there in the Mercedes AMG all over the back of 2 Desert Pack, trying to work his way up through the field. So this has bunched these guys up. It'll be interesting to see if these guys are pitting, and it looks like Gamasuki certainly is, and so is Typek. So they're both into the pits.
Side by side going into the pit lane. It's normally you're normally not allowed to overtake in the pit lane, so but of course, one of them is going to have to. And there we go, Typek has now stopped. Yeah, that unravelled very, very quickly for Gamasuki and Typek there. I think one of them was underway very quickly. See, Gamasuki. Yeah, he was away very quick. Typek's going to be there a while. Gamasuki may well have gotten away with minimal damage, as it was a rear impact for him. Jardier then hanging on to the back of CJB, still in that 4th position. CJB has fallen off the back of Leon, so now this could give the title contender of Leon the Sick One an opportunity to chase after Dalkey. It doesn't look that much, actually. They still look fairly equidistant. Dalkey's got himself a little bit of breathing space, as the 3 behind them have been fighting away. Villalobos now up to 5th. With the shuffling rounds gone on, Villalobos then is.
There's Typek coming out.
There's Typek coming out of the pits. Yeah, he's having to stay very much out of the way. He doesn't want to get involved at all in what's going on there. But here come the top 4. Jardier fell a little bit off the back of CJB. Now the top 3. Whoa! Well held, Dalkey. That's exactly as you were saying earlier, Yorkie. That must have been what happened to Gamasuki earlier that caused the incident between himself and Typek. But again, because of the line that Dalkey uses, that really makes this chicane that much more difficult. Here's a short run down to the next turn. Is Leon going to make a move? No, again, he's opting not to. But Dalkey really committing to the apex very, very early. He is defending for all he's worth.
Yep, I think if he's on the soft tyres, he could be struggling with tyre temperatures. Oh no, there's contact at the back! Who was that who made contact there? I think that may have been Jardier into the back of CJB. That spun CJB round. Not sure how much damage he's suffered from that. CJB is clearly not happy. And Jardier is going to need to lift if and give that position back if he wants to avoid a penalty. Otherwise, I imagine CJB is probably going to take that one to the stewards at the end of the races. Actually, Typek is actually going and passing Jardier. I think Jardier may potentially be lifting now and potentially waiting for CJB. Either that, or he could just be letting Typek come back through with the slipstream and not wanting to risk making contact with him. I'm assuming it was Jardier who made contact with the back of CJB. Not entirely sure at the moment, so we get a better shot. Yeah, it looks like that the front bumper on the front left looks slightly dislodged in comparison to the right. But what I was saying previously, just before we saw that incident happen, the soft tyres, they yeah, once they get up to a certain temperature in and around 95 degrees, they start to drop grip quite rapidly. And where this circuit is very much stop-start with quite important traction zones, coming out of slow corners, you're probably lighting up the rear tyres a little bit, and then when you're actually coming through the banking sections, it's not really giving them too much of a rest. This part here at the top of the tri-oval, it's not going to be too bad, and it's actually Jardier. No, sorry, Jardier is into the pits.
Yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he suffered some damage he wasn't happy to carry on with. Of course, we're only lap 11 and 47 at this point, so it'll be quite some distance to carry. You know, even significant enough damage, I mean, will not be big in general terms. As CJB gets his name on the penalty board, along with Scott as well. So CJB's day is not getting any better following that incident. So, yeah, Jardier. Well, a very uncharacteristic mistake then from the championship leader. Oh, Touring, that was close. Nearly coming to blows with Rodders there. That's for 9th position between the two Mercedes. Now coming into turn 4. Yeah, Jardier. Yeah, I'm just genuinely surprised. We really don't often see don't see a mistake like that. But then, you know, as Yorkie said earlier, this is not a familiar track to most drivers. Here comes Touring. That's a very no, Tail didn't want to hang on. Tail didn't want to behave. There's Nagron that's gone through. So Touring challenging for 9th has ended up in 11th. So a bit of a shame. Great effort, but the Tail just did not want to bite. But they're going to be running very minimal, likely 0-0 downforce because of the long sweeping sections along the back here. So that I doubt it's going to be the first time we'll see the tail of these cars let go.
Yeah, and I imagine if they're fighting tyre temperatures as well, and obviously the tyre wear and the tyre life dropping off throughout this race, a number of drivers will be struggling with that rear end grip, as you say. So jumping up to Benazili in 5th position, he's chasing down Villalobos in front of him. Villalobos does have the penalty. It is still 2 seconds. CJB's got a penalty of 5 seconds at the moment. Scott has a 1 second penalty. So that all to me seems like it'll be track limit penalties that those guys have picked up. Jardier has rejoined the track after it's very, very close there by Benazili, running a little bit deep, almost coming into contact with the rear of Villalobos' Z4 in front of him. But yeah, Jardier back out of the pit lane in 17th. I imagine after some damage repair, he's now some 54.5 seconds off leader Dowking.
Indeed. So a lot of work for Jardier to do, but not insurmountable. Of course, everyone in front of him, or vast majority of people in front of him, will have to pit of their own accord anyway. There is the lead battle. Leon hanging on to the back of Dowking. Leon was 1.5 tenths quicker than the lead Lamborghini last time around, so he's certainly got the pace to do it. He has been a winner in this season already. AD Ace has brought his car in from 12th place. Was Touring in trouble? No, just the way that I think it's just the way that the order was shuffling around because AD Ace was coming in. Touring and Nats Nagram side by side. That's a battle for 7th. The Lamborghini just hanging on to that one. But the Mercedes then, is he going to shape it for a move on the inside of 4? No, he doesn't, but he's got. Who's now behind? That is Suomi and JK, I think, already behind.
Suomi and Touring.
Suomi and Touring, big
behind Rodders there. Yeah, so Touring has managed to recover a position or two after his half spin that he had coming into this exact corner when trying to pass Rodders. Very good move there by Nagron to slot himself up into 7th place. Obviously we've had a couple of pitters from the top end, so it's not a net 7th, but imagine as this race continues and we start to get closer towards the halfway point, we'll start to see a lot more drivers actually making pit stops, and that's where things are going to be much more difficult to try and keep track of.
Very much so. Touring staying in the slipstream of Rodders, both of them screaming over the line. Suomi has brought his car in from 11th, and someone parked on the pit lane exit. Oh, it's 2 Days pack.
It looked like it.
Oh, 2 Days. We've lost. His maiden race in that Lamborghini's gone horribly wrong. Oh, what a shame for 2 Days. But this battle, jumping back up for this battle for 7th. Nagram leads this train. Oh, Touring, he's really keeping the pressure on Rodders. Now got an outside move into 4. That's going to force him quite a long way around. That's going to make his route through the chicane very narrow. He's now switching to the other side. Surely not. That can't go well. He had to back out of that. He just stops behind Rodders. Is he going to dive on the inside of 7? Ooh, this is where it went wrong for him. He's there. He didn't spin this time. Of course, that's where he had his spin 2 laps ago. And Touring's got him. What a great series of corners for Touring then. He's really keeping the pressure on well. Oh, and he's hit the wall though. That's not, you can't be losing momentum onto because you're carrying that speed for such a long period of time. You lose any momentum that early, you just carry that mistake a long way. Here comes Rodders and on the outside of the penultimate turn, side by side through. Of course, Rodders will have to go the outside along all of these turns right the way through to 3. He's nosed ahead. Can he complete the move before the braking zone? He does. Rodders back up to 8th position then, all because of that one mistake. There's Nagram. He's got himself a fair bit of breathing space, and just behind behind Touring was JK and Scott, I think. Oh! And there he goes again. Rodders seems to struggle a bit coming into, unless Touring's running a little bit more, a little bit of downforce to make him do lovely outside maneuvers like that. What a great move then from the black and green Mercedes. I'm so used to saying Lamborghini. So there through he goes. Wow, that was very brave then from Touring. What a stunning move. I wonder if he is just running a tiny bit of downforce just to give him a bit of confidence through these turns. And Rodders would appear to be completely flat as far as downforce is concerned, because he really was struggling in this section compared to Touring, unless it's a damage thing as well. That could be another factor. But yeah, stunning move from Touring.
Yep, the other thing that could be is tyres. Touring could have just been kinder on his tyres in the early stages of the race and looked after them a little bit better, but we're starting to see Rodders picking up a fair decent tow here in the slipstream of Touring. So I think you're right here, KK, in that Touring is running a little bit more downforce than the other guys around him. Rodders is now being forced to the middle section of the banking, having to go around the outside. Looks like he's got it almost done. Touring is coming back at him though under the braking zone. It looks like Touring is holding the position. Rodders going for the switchback, not quite getting the traction and quite getting the position underneath him. So Touring is going to hold onto that 8th place for now, and he's obviously going to be pushing hard through this infield section, trying to extend that gap, which you're going to visibly already start to see extending, and basically try and give himself as much room as possible for when it actually comes to the bank section, and he is hoping to escape that slipstream there.
Benazili on the back of Villalobos, battle for 4th, then the Z4 doing a pretty good job of staying as high up the field as he can. He got that penalty unfortunately early on. It's CJB's 10 seconds down the road from this particular battle and completely on his own. Just under 9 seconds behind the lead battle of Leon and Dalking as that still rages on. And Jardier is actually losing time to this battle. The gap between Dalking and Jardier continues to increase. So Jardier just doesn't seem to be at home at this particular circuit as we've seen previously. Benazili then looked like he was really wrestling the Lambo through the turns. Have lost another from the race unfortunately, and not entirely certain who. It's down to 19 drivers now coming through that really tight, twisty 5 and 6, down to 7. And Benazili, wow, the Z4 had a stunning drive through that section. There's 7 on the way down to 8. Can the Lamborghini do anything? I think Benazili just kind of doing what he can to hang on to the back of the Z4 at the moment.
Yep, obviously just trying to hang there in that infield section. I think he was going to have the advantage when it comes to the bank section, though Z4 is putting a little bit away under acceleration in comparison to the Lamborghini, but I think this is where the Lamborghini is going to start to claw it back, where it's going to have the slightly better top speed, but also having that slipstream and having the tow of the car in front of him, whereas Villalobos doesn't have anyone in front of him. So potential move here coming from Benazili, having a little bit of a look to the inside, but thinks better of it and slots in behind for now. But he's lining himself up to try and get a decent exit. Both of the cars getting good traction there coming out of that turn 3. So those guys are continuing to battle on. back up to the front now. Leon, the sick one, getting very, very close to the back of Dowking, fighting for that lead.
He's been staring at the back of that white and pink Lamborghini all race long, and it continues to pile the pressure now. Whether the lapping within the same tenth of a second, and have been for quite a number of laps now since they lost that chasing pair behind, which Jardier of course was one. They've just been able to run their own race. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Leon is just biding his time, knows he's not under immediate pressure. I reckon Leon is going to absolutely storm it when the pit stops happen. Again, Dowking opting to stay very, very much to the bottom of the line, and again Leon trying to get the pace through turn 3, but finds Dowking has already blocked the way. Benazili still staying on the back of the Z4. JK was on the back of who was that? That was Rodders. He was back with. So we've got battles up and down the fields, as invariably we do. It's always great fun to try and keep up with all of them. That's Leon staying within that half a second. He was actually about 0.3 faster with 14.2, but of course he's got nowhere to use that additional pace that he finds.
Yep, sorry about that. I saw two cars going side by side coming through the banking in the background, or when we were riding on board with Leon, and thought I'd try and quickly pick up that battle going into the braking zone. To look like it may have just been someone lapping someone else, as the main guys who are in close contention weren't in the same position around the track. There was someone in the pit lane, or a couple of drivers are actually in the pit lane and have retired to the pits, so obviously incurring damage there. I'm not seeing them on the standings panel here on the left with the pit indicator. So Leon, once again, just sitting behind Dowking at the moment. He's probably trying to preserve tyres and trying to save fuel a little bit. These guys are probably usually actually fueled for the entire duration of the race, so there isn't going to be any real need to save fuel. But if Leon is put himself in a position where he wouldn't be marginal on fuel for the race and would need to do a little bit of fuel saving, this will obviously help him. So these guys continuing on at the moment. Benazili and Villalobos believe that these two guys are the closest drivers on track at the moment.
Indeed, also from our lead pair, the Lamborghini still chasing that Z4. Only 4 drivers are in the 14s range, the top 3 and the Jardier, which has been the case pretty much all race long. CJB was with Jardier, but finds himself 11.7 behind the leader. So a bit of a lonely existence for CJB at the moment, as he's 12 seconds ahead of this battle that we can see. And Villalobos then is keeping things going for him. A decent 4th position for him at the moment. He's just mainly playing the defensive game. As much as you want to try and press on to catch up with those ahead, you take your eye off the ball from the guy behind you, and they will pounce. Here comes Benazili in the slipstream. He's struggling to keep the car on the bottom of the bank. Here we go then into turn 3. Oh, that's again, we're seeing a lot of people going sideways again with running very low downforce. Is not a surprise, but on they go. Their battle continues.
Yep, Villalobos doing a very, very good job at the moment, just keeping that distance to prevent Benazili mounting any real attack to try and threaten Villalobos' 4th position. Let's go a little bit further down the field. Rodders trying to hustle the back of JK. Battle between the Audi R8 and this Mercedes AMG. Leon's into the pits. Very well spotted.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption, but Leon's decided to not stay. He's it's a little bit before the halfway stage, so depending on how long he sits there for. Oh, CJB's in
CJB's into the pits in the valve. Yeah, I was saying that whilst you're at the same time as probably was.
Not exciting enough for you, Yorkie.
Just tired, mate. Yeah. This is good, exciting stuff. Now that was a half decent length pit stop, I believe.
I reckon Leon's taken tyres. I reckon he has. He had no damage on the car. I think it was just a tyre swap. Touring is in as well.
There is Scott and Jardier. So they're just coming onto the banking section now. We pick up Leon once again, who's just coming out of the pits, and is on the run. He's currently in 8th position, and he's going to hold that at the moment. He's just waiting for that pit exit, which is there at the broken dotted line. That is where you can safely exit the apron and come up onto the actual racetrack. So Leon has quite a substantial lead over Jardier. Jardier is now actually taking a place from CJB, and CJB isn't too far behind. It's actually just behind Scott. Interesting.
So yeah, Jardier's jumped CJB in that pit stop phase. I wouldn't be at all surprised if CJB was still carrying damage from that tap that he had from Jardier early on in the race. Or, of course, you know, we're still looking at tyre changes or potential tyre changes going on. Dalking is in, so let's see. Villalobos then takes over the lead of the race with Benazili still in hot pursuit. So it's going to be interesting to see where Dalking reappears. What have we got now then? So Villalobos leads Benazili. Oh, that's getting close at the moment. D'Couza's brought his car in from 5th. Wow, that was a short stop from Dalking. There's definitely no tyres going on there. As JK's come in.
It's going to be close though. Very, very close. I think Leon, the 6th one, is actually going to have this.
Surely going to have it.
Well,
there he goes.
Yep, Dalking's still got to accelerate. So Leon inheriting the lead in the pit stop and has a reasonable margin as well. So a nice little undercut there for Leon, taking advantage of the fresh set of tyres to jump himself up into what is a net first position. He's obviously currently in 5th place at the moment, but the guys in front of him are still yet to make a pit stop. Jumping back up to the very front as Benazili and Villalobos in 2nd and 1st position respectively. Coming out onto the banking section, we're at that halfway stage in the race now as well. So very much in the pit stop window. Benazili is going to be coming in on this lap. Villalobos is going around again. So this one will be another battle that will be interesting to keep an eye on and see if Benazili can get the undercut on Villalobos to jump himself up a position.
Indeed. So Leon and Rodders aren't far apart either, 4th and 5th at the moment. I've just realised. Was Rodders coming in? Yep. He was in that, but he was actually slightly ahead of Dalking. So Dalking has lost time. I wonder if he's made a mistake somewhere, because I know that Leon jumped him in the pits, but that's over a second between the two now, unless Leon is just absolutely flying now on his outlaps. Andrex brings his car in, our guest driver for this series, running the SLS AMG, and he'll come out towards the turn. There he is. And that's... Oh, he was very keen to get going again, revving the engine already. There is Jardier now. CJB's ahead of Jardier now. So those two swapping position, and that's a battle for 5th place. Then Dalking is, how far ahead is he? He's about 12 seconds down the road from this battle. So once again, the Lemon Lamborghini is crossing swords with the CJB. Hopefully it'll go a bit smoother this time around. But CJB very nearly in the 13s. My goodness, 14-0 for the 5th place runner at the moment. Villalobos brings in the Z4 from the race lead. That's going to hand that over to Nagram, unless Nagram's coming as well. No, he hasn't. So Nagram takes over the race lead in his black and red Lamborghini.
Yeah, I was wondering if that potential position swap may have been a consolation swap as to what may have happened earlier with the incident, as Jardier just letting him down. But having said that, CJB is just, he's romping away from Jardier. He's got fantastic pace, and he does go into the 319s on that lap quicker than Jardier. So Jardier may actually still be running with damage. We know that he pitted a while back as well, so he's not going to be on quite as fresh tyres as the guys around him. Jumping to Villalobos, who's coming out of the pit lane, and Benazili has actually gone and jumped Villalobos in the stop as well. So the undercut here working very, very strong and in favour of a number of drivers. Obviously their actual approach in towards the into the pit stop as well is obviously going to play a factor. Obviously if you take a much more aggressive approach in towards that pit limiter line when coming into the pit lane, you could potentially find some time over an opponent, especially if your opponent is taking a more cautious approach.
Nagram is in then from the race lead. That's going to hand that over to Leon. Oh, Gamasuki, that was very deep, coming into, what was that? That was 7. He's chasing Scott then. Battle for 6th. He's already having a look on the inside of the Bentley. But has that door very much slammed in his face. Back onto the banking. But that's a terrible run onto that section for the Bentley. Then Gamasuki dives to the inside. Is he going to bring Benazili with him? Is Scott going to try and come down? It would be risky because there's already a Lamborghini alongside him. Scott's just let them go. Oh, that's why Scott's coming in. That'll be why he didn't want to fight the Lamborghinis. But Benazili then has got a decent run on Gamasuki ahead of him. Gamasuki staying very much to the bottom of that turn. Is the blue and black Lamborghini going to do anything against the one ahead? He's going to go to the outside, but I doubt he's going to really make a move unless he's exceedingly brave around the outside of 3. And indeed, no, he's going to try and undercut. Not quite enough room for that. A big tank slapper then for Benazili. Leon leads Dalking, but not by much. As the battle up front is a 13.8 for Dalking. So now seeing the 13 starting to crop onto the lap time boards. We saw CJB do it. Another 210s actually for CJB ahead of Jardier. So it's not going all Jardier's way, but Leon in a strong position to win this one.
Yeah, he certainly is. And seeing Dalking here, though, potentially threatening that first position. He's picking up a little bit of slipstream there. Coming into the banking, he's semi kind of bail out of it. He's looking to the inside, but he's not going to be sending out the inside of Leon there from that far back. But he does get very, very close as he gets a nice bit of over rotation coming into that corner, which would have helped him a little bit. Probably wouldn't have been liked by the tyres. They're probably screaming at him as they were getting a little bit of torture there, but managed to hold on to that one very, very nicely. It's closed the gap a little bit to Leon with that as well. So this is going to be a battle to watch, certainly in this second half of the race, as Leon, he'll obviously want to try and keep this lead, give him the best possible chance of keeping that title fight alive. However, he isn't going to want to risk too much with Dalking to the point that he gets taken out of the race and all his title hopes will shatter.
Indeed, still plenty of racing to do. Oh, Benazili right in the middle of Gamasuki and Villalobos. Villalobos got slightly caught out there. He's nudged the back of the Lamborghini right in the middle of that 5 and 6 chicane. Nowhere to go. It's so narrow through there. Now through 7, heading down towards 8. Villalobos all over the back of Benazili, nearly into the back of the Lamborghini. Just manages to avoid contact. Now back onto the banking again. And Villalobos didn't get quite such a good run onto the banking, but neither did Benazili. Villalobos is closing in already. Now in the slipstream. Let's see if the Z4 is going to attack before they get to that big braking zone at turn 3. Now through the final turn, complete lap 28 for these guys. And of course you've got, that is the Gamasuki ahead of them. The Lambo getting the slipstream off of Gamasuki, as is the Z4 at the back of Benazili. This could be interesting. Whoa,
that's late.
That's very late. Can he hold on to it? He's trying to hang on to the outside through turn 3. He wants the inside for 4. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Gamasuki is down into 6th. Can he hold it? And now the Z4 trying on the inside of turn 4 on the Gamasuki. Has to bail on that one. But he's forced Gamasuki into a compromise line through the chicane. Is he going to try and move into 7? There goes the Z4 positioning us very late. Can he slow it down? He can. Gamasuki's lost 2 positions in 8 corners. Oh, and a big tank slapper for Gamasuki. Oh, wow. That escalated quickly for Gamasuki.
Yep, very, very good move there by both Benazili and Villalobos to gain those positions. Very unfortunate for Gamasuki, but it seems like he's having to fight and struggle the tyres a little bit, as we saw, really struggling in that traction zone when trying to apply the power coming out of that right-handed hairpin. As you say, his line was compromised through the... actually, Gamasuki is coming into the pits. Potential... They can't be for damage. Is he... I think this might just be his routine stop, and he was just fighting the guys on relatively worn tyres. So a longer first stint for Gamasuki then, before swapping onto a new set of boots for a shorter second stint. But obviously this is going to push him quite a bit down the field, and he's going to have a whole bunch of positions to try and claw back up into the 5th, 6th place that he was fighting previously. I doubt he'll be able to quite get that far back up the field, but certainly top 10 could potentially be Actually, no. Looking at the split time, looking at the gap times, I think it could be a little bit more difficult for Gemisuki to reach the top 10. But even still, he'll probably have fun trying to fight his way back up through the field.
Absolutely. And there is our lead pair then. Leon leading the race from Dalking. Was the other way around before the pit stops. Leon is having to play the defensive game as Dalking was for so very long. Now the white and pink Lamborghini gets to exact his revenge on Leon. One small mistake and these two will shuffle round as they come through 5 and 6, streaming on down towards 7. They can see back markers ahead of them. We got the brakes. Again, there's a bit of a slide there for Dalking. He's struggling to slow that one down, but managed to avoid impact. Now into 8, coming through the next hairpin onto the banking again, so close to the wall, using every inch of track that is available to them. Through 9, as he's staying very much in the slipstream of Leon. Can he gain? What will he do? Is he going to make a move? He's a little bit too far back, not gaining at the moment. Here he comes now. The slipstream's really beginning to take effect. And Leon's cuts back down to the bottom of the track, and I think Dalking actually backed out of that one a little bit. Didn't fancy trying to make a move now. Still got another 16 laps to do, so he doesn't want to, exactly as you were saying earlier, Yorkie, he doesn't want to do anything silly at this stage, because again, Dalking is right there to potentially steal the win off of Leon if Leon makes a mistake.
Yep, Dalking's also holding third in the championship as well, with Suomi not too far behind, so Dalking needs to think about points for his own championship fight. Obviously he's not fighting for the title, but he's going to be fighting for that third position overall. But I think Dalking he's just trying to find the right time and the right momentum to try and mount a proper challenge on Leon in front of him. We saw him catching up in the slipstream as his teammate Suomi moves quite nicely out of the way to avoid hindering either of the front two runners. But yeah, Dalking getting a good run coming through this section on the banking here, picking up some nice slipstream across the top of the tri-oval here. But when he actually comes into the banking, he's carrying just that little bit too much speed to kind of really challenge. This time around he's got it a little bit better, so he hasn't bled too much speed off this time. He's still closing. He's basically just trying to time it right with the braking point here. This time around he's much closer, however still not quite close enough to make a real challenge. Runs a little bit deep there upon the entry, but manages to cut back and get a late apex, which would have aided him on the exit to get a decent run and stay relatively close. But yeah, he's just trying to line himself up for a decent opportunity into 3 coming through that turn 1 and 2, but he doesn't want to ruin and lift too hard to ruin that momentum coming through that first banking section, those first 2 turns.
Indeed, and we're seeing pretty much roles reversed. Even the lines they're taking, we saw Leon doing that move repeatedly coming through turn 3, where he goes high up in the banking to cut to the apex and get a better exit speed. And we're now seeing that role reversed as Dalking trying the same line. Here we go again. Leon a little bit further ahead this time than Dalking, but I think Dalking's been backing off as he's come through turn 1 the last few times. His momentum just suddenly stalls, but now he's a little bit further back. He may just hang on in the throttle. Here we go again. He's going to be too far back to try and move this time, unless it's the biggest dive bomb in the world, and there's too much to lose to try moves like that. This time both of them taking a near identical line coming through turn 3. I would imagine Dalking is just eyeing up whatever opportunity he can. Leon then, obviously he's followed this car for long enough, he knows what lines that Dalking normally takes. I think he's just simply adopted them for himself, because they are very good defensive lines he's taking.
Yeah, doing a decent job there, keeping him at bay at the moment. Just have a look at some of the other guys. The battle between Villalobos and Benazili still raging on, as we can see. Benazili not close enough this time round to mount any real challenge, and the other guys who are relatively close together have broken away from each other. However, Scott and Shooter in the Bentley and the M6 are going at it in that final position. We have lost one other driver.
We lost Bo a little while ago.
19. Yep, good spot there. And Scott has managed to pop himself up into 17th position ahead of Shooter. Shooter not really fighting that one too hard.
No, he'd rather let the Bentley go, didn't he? It's kind of it's wooden spoon avoidance, unfortunately for those two. But no such problems up front here. Dowking still keeping his car very, very big in the mirrors of the green Lamborghini. Leon a little slow coming through turn 3, but that put Dowking a little bit off his rhythm. So that didn't turn out too badly for either of them. Now through turn 4 once again. Over to the right hand side, over that crest. A good run. Wow, a great exit then for Leon from turn 4. That's just giving him that much more breathing space coming into 7. Oh, Ducking again. He's got a little D. This is now an opportunity for Leon to try and get away to break that slipstream. There is Typek actually directly ahead. Such a shame for him. He was a front runner earlier on, but is unravelled as the race has continued. Darking slightly closer this time than he was last time, but Leon did not get a good run out of turn 8 on back onto the banking, so we'll see if Dowking is able to capitalise on that. Once again in the slipstream, staying very much in the tyre tracks of the green Lamborghini ahead. Again, he's gaining by this point, and again you can see on the speedo on the right that he backs off of the throttle. The car can easily take that at full crank, but he's just biding his time. Oops, that's an unusual way of taking turn 3. But yeah, he comes off the throttle just to keep himself in the optimum position. But as the lap counts continues to drop, I think we'll get to a point where he's going to start to try and force the issue rather than wait for Leon to make a mistake.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the dirty air and just trying to look after the tyres. Obviously, oh no, that's way too late, and that's way too deep for Dowking. That's quite a big mistake there. We're fortunately on board with him at the time to capture that, but that has put, well, that's just that's said goodbye to the fight for the lead for this race. That's ruined Dowking's chances. But I was going to say, yeah, he's probably just trying to look after the tyres, make sure that he actually makes the apex and isn't straining them too much. But now that he's got a bit more of a gap, a good 6 seconds now to Leon, he probably won't be needing to lift off coming through turns 1 and 2 anymore. But that was very unfortunate, that mistake there for Dowking.
Exactly as we were saying earlier, just one mistake completely changes the landscape. As well, yep, very much. You can again see on the speedo there's no change in that green bar at all as they come through turn 2, streaming on down towards that hairpin of 3. So now he's just going to push with everything he's possibly got. Back to the battle for 5th position between Villalobos and Benazili. The Lamborghini continues to chase the Z4. Villalobos doing a great job to keep Benazili at bay. Here we go again, exactly as we've seen with Leon and Dowking in the slipstream for the Lamborghini. Is he going to make a move on the Z4? He's gaining. It's going to be a big move if he goes for it. He's forced to the outside for turn 3. He's going to try and cut back underneath the Z4. And again, Z4 just gets a too good an exit from turn 3 and does not pay off.
No, not quite working this time around. It did look like he had a pretty good run. He just needs to be a little bit closer coming onto that banking section from next time in order to really threaten that 5th position. One interesting stat to note at the moment, currently, with Jardier 5 seconds behind CJB. This, if the positions stay as they are currently, this will be the first time that Jardier will be finishing off of the podium this season.
Wow!
Obviously, that's going to help Leon quite a bit in terms of trying to keep that title fight alive to that final race, which will be next week. But yeah, this battle continuing on. It doesn't seem that Benazili is going to be close enough this time round to really mount a challenge coming into that turn 3 braking zone.
He's quite a way back this time compared to where he's been. So he's just going to have to keep on watching the back of that Z4. Oh, and that would be...
Suomi, I think.
I was going to say, that can't be Dowking, surely. He's not unravelled that badly for him. No, that is indeed Suomi. Good spots. Where is Suomi running? He's running in last. Yeah, so... Yep. Oh, and he's fallen off the track.
That's probably why it seems like he's certainly struggling a lot. Fortunately, he manages to that one back up before any more guys come round. Just take out a cone, just for
Because
a
you
little
can.
bit of why not?
Yeah,
Let's see what other positions we got going. D'Couza and Nagrom battling for 7th place. Battle between the M6 and the Lamborghini.
indeed, one of our few BMWs in this race. D'Couza doing what he can to fend off Nagrom. Wow, Nagrom wants to get on the inside, going through turn 7. Now side by side, no, not quite. Bit of banging going on. The BMW trying to return to the racing line. Oh, what a move then by Nagrom. Puts himself on the inside, coming off of turn 8, but the BMW had a great drive. We're coming back onto the banking. Now, Nagrom staying in the slipstream is going to, of course, start to reel the BMW in as they cross the line. Can he do anything about it? Is he going to try and move coming into that big old braking zone of turn 3? That's where the main kind of actions happen. Well, a lot of the actions happened into that particular turn. So let's see what he does. Oh, the BMW not quite on the bottom of the track. That's Nagrom biding his time. Is he going to have a lunge on the inside? There he goes. He's committed. And the BMW has seen he's there. Nagrom now squeezes through on the inside of 3. But the BMW's still there. He's going to have the inside for 4. Can D'Couza then squeeze back up into 7th? Oh, that is very close. Still side by side. One of them is going to have to blink before they come through the chicane. No, they're going side by side. Oh, that's brave for the pair of them. Brilliant driving. That's so narrow there. Nagrom going onto the grass to keep the side-by-side going. Now into turn 7. Brilliantly done, and the BMW manages to nose ahead, but Nagrom straight back on his case. Still side-by-side now coming into turn 8, and the BMW's braked early, but he's still having the inside line. Can Nagrom get the drive onto the banking? Yes, he does. That goes to Nagrom, beg your pardon, and very nicely done. But can D'Couza come straight back at him in the slipstream?
I think he will. Nagrom placed himself perfectly on the outside there to take away the acceleration zone of D'Couza, which helped consolidate that position, but D'Couza is still there. The M6 does have slightly better straight line speed than the Lamborghini. However, it's not really working in his favour at the moment. He hasn't really been able to pick up too much slipstream. He's having to look to the outside, coming in through turns 1, 2 and into 3. He's going to have a better line though, coming through turn 3 itself, but it looks like that Nagrom has managed to hold on to that position very, very well. Very good driving and battling between those two drivers, and it looks like Nagrom is going to hold on to that one for the moment.
Very well driven. I'm stunned they managed to go side by side through that chicane last lap without incident. That was brilliantly done between the pair of them. It does look like Nagrom though beginning to stretch his legs ahead of, and that's Suomi falling off again. I wouldn't be surprised if Suomi parked that one. I'll give him his dues. He's still going. He's opted not to give up just yet. That's going to be a bit of a struggle for him to get off the bottom of the scoreboard, I think, sadly, which is a great, great shame. But D'Couza then doing what he can to hang on to the back of the black and red Lamborghini. He's coming through at turn 9. Gets into the slipstream. He will gain a little bit. I don't think he's going to gain enough on Nagrom this time, though, to challenge into that turn 3. There's turn 1. Now to the back of turn 2. He's going to get under that rear wing. He's making sure he's well and truly known in the mirrors of Nagrom. Surely he's going to be too wise to try and move, and indeed he doesn't try and dive on the inside of 3 this time, but very much stays in contention.
Yep. Continuing to tick down on the laps. It's a good thing that Suomi's actually staying in, even though he seemed to have an absolute nightmare of the time, not really anywhere in contention of battling for 17th place. He is going to still pick up points if he does manage to hold out to the race, the end of the race, for 18th position. So there is a little bit of worth in hanging around till the end. Jumping back up, Benazili is still going at it with Villalobos, as we can see. Benazili this time though looking quite a bit closer to the back of Villalobos than we have seen previously in the past, having to look to the high line above Villalobos coming through the banking of turn 2. That's going to compromise them, and it isn't going to quite be able to make the run coming into turn 3. We've actually got a battle up ahead for 15th, 16th and 17th position between Scott Andrex and Shooter. See those guys fighting away ahead of us. They obviously need to be wary of this battle for 5th position coming up behind them, and they'll need to get out of the way We can see Andrex there is right up against the back of Scott. Scott's actually going defensive coming into this right-hander that we see here. Scott holding on to that position for now. We jump back up to, Benazili. We can watch this battle unfold in front of us from the roof cam. We're now right onto the back of Shooter, so Shooter is probably going to move out of the way relatively soon to let these guys go through. Scott and Andrex need to be sensible and move out of these guys' way as well without compromising either of these two drivers. Andrex is quite a wise head, so I imagine that he'll probably do so without losing too much time to Scott, as he's actually trying to go around the outside of Scott currently at the moment. We are currently trying to dispatch Shooter, and Shooter stays quite nicely out of the way of both Villalobos and Benazili. Villalobos though going a little bit high in the banking. We've got Scott and Andrex still side by side up ahead. Benazili looking to the outside of Villalobos coming into turn 3, not quite working there. We're now right onto the back of this fight. No, Benazili lit up the tyres just a little bit too much coming out of the traction zone. He's now got Shooter on his inside. Shooter does the wise thing though and just lets Benazili go and not try to come back up the inside. It looks like that Andrex has conceded the track position to Villalobos and dropped back and is going to let Benazili go into this next right-hander. Scott is now doing the same, so it's not going to hinder these guys too much. Benazili quite unfortunate with that slide that he had coming out of the exit of turn 3.
And once again, just one mistake, just completely shuffling where the battles are. Benazili will get a little bit of a toe off the back of the Bentley. As long as he doesn't directly hold Benazili up, Scott's allowed to keep his foot in it until such time as the Lambo starts to close in. I would imagine Scott is he's not leaving him much time to get out of the way. There's a flash of the lights. Now he gets out of the way, but that gives Benazili a hell of a lot of momentum. Look at that, he's really closing in on the back of the Z4. Could he make a move on the outside of coming into turn 3? It'll be brave if he goes for it, but he hasn't got many laps to go. He's committed to it, but he's gone too deep. Steady, Bentley. Scott, of course, involved in his own battle with Andrex, as previously mentioned, but he does not want to slam into the... Oh, Benazili again! Oh, just manages to keep it on the black stuff. Well, there's probably not much tyre left for the Lamborghini, the way he seems to be sliding around much more. Andrex right on the back of Scott, then right behind. He's got a great ringside seat for all the action going on ahead of him. Benazili again really is struggling to get that car slowed down. I'm not sure that Villalobos is doing much better because he hasn't been able to sprint off at all. Here we go again through turn 8. Benazili tried to cut underneath the Z4, but he was having none of that. Well parked on the apex for Villalobos. Now coming through turn 9. The roaring Mercedes and Bentley just behind them, still having their battle for 15th position. Here comes Benazili again. He's got the momentum he needs. Can he finally usurp Villalobos? Villalobos does still carry that penalty, but could well be challenged later on. And the Lamborghini's got him. He has gone up into 5th position. And Villalobos has actually dropped back a little bit. That's put him right with Andrex and Scott. Andrex has actually got ahead of the Bentley. And Villalobos is slowing down. Has he? I wonder if he's had a penalty, a cut track penalty there. He's now right between the warring Mercedes and the Bentley. We didn't see any impact on the Z4. It looks in pretty good nick. I wonder if he just maybe cut a corner a little bit too much and just had to slow down a bit to give the time back. But he's already lost 1.5 seconds to Benazili.
Yeah, he has. I think it could potentially just mainly been a bit of a poor run, and the other guys coming behind him, he probably didn't want that to actually impact them and battle too much, so he's kind of half trying to think about staying out the way, but in doing so he's got himself caught right up between the two. Scott is very, very close to the back of that Z4. Don't think there was contact, but Scott is obviously eager to try and keep with Andrex, as Andrex is capitalised from all of this.
Oh,
Scott
fuel!
Actually going around the outside of Villalobos.
Check Villalobos' fuel. I've just had a thought. Check Villalobos' fuel. I wonder if he's fuel saving. He's fuel saving!
Yes, he is.
Oh,
1.7.
He's never going to make that. He is never going to make that. Surely not. Villalobos cannot possibly do 2 laps with 1.7 litres still in the tank.
But what's everyone else got? Everyone's kind of in and around, the 8. Most people are in and around like 8-9 litres. So yeah, Villalobos really struggling with fuel. Obviously, him being in front of Benazili for all that time as well, that wouldn't have helped him. He did come out behind Benazili in the pit stop because Benazili did undercut him However, he regained the position quite quickly. But yeah, he's now really having to fuel save, as you can see, not even going full throttle coming through the chicane there.
No.
Holding it in 4th gear. Going to be doing a fair amount of lifting and coasting. He'll only have probably 0.4 of a litre. He's got to pit this lap if he's going to make it to the end of the race, which is going to be very unfortunate because he's going to lose more positions from that as well.
What a shame for Villalobos, just crawling through, barely using any throttle whatsoever. There he goes onto the apron rather. He's just about going to make it to the pits. Oh, what a shame for Villalobos. He'll only just make it to the pit lane at this rate. Is he going to make it? Is he going to make it?
Oh, yeah, he should be able to. He'll just coast it through on the clutch.
I've never seen I've never seen 0.1 of a. I bet he's glad his pit crew were there, as opposed to the other end of the pit lane. Oh, Villalobos with the shortest pit stop of the day. There he goes. Just puts 5 litres in. Oh, well, we're
going to lose 8th position. The ace is coming through. Rodgers may pick up a position here as well. It looks like he's going to. That's really unfortunate for Villalobos because he was having such a good race, fighting the position, and in all of that, we've missed the end of the race.
Oh no! So we did. Your winner here at Texas is actually Leon the Sick One by quite a gap in the end. Where's Dal King? Oh, he stopped.
There he is.
Just come over the line and stop.
He has stopped. CJB is going to be your next guy coming over the line in 3rd place. Jardier coming over the line now for 4th position. It's the first time he's finished off the podium this season, so that's keeping the title fight alive. That's a very nice rear entry drift coming into the banking section. Benazili will be coming across the line. Andrex looks like he's just about managed to hold off Scott for 15th and 16th positions. Nagron will be your next driver across to take 6th.
He will indeed. And 3 seconds further down the road it is Takuza. He seems happy with that. Then he's going to be touring. Not sure who that is directly ahead. Oh, that's Suomi, isn't it? Oh, it's gone so horribly wrong for Suomi. There is touring in 8th. The ace is going to claim 9th position. Villalobos came out in 10th. Oh, what a shame for him. There's the Lamborghini. He stopped. Oh no, Villalobos.
Yeah, he would have got lapped by Leon going across the line.
Oh, yeah, of course. He's already finished.
Yeah.
Oh dear. And just in
what could have been.
Well, you inherited the opening round of the Endurance League by exactly the same circumstance.
Yes, that is true. It's always important to keep an eye on your fuel and make sure that you have enough for the end. So, your top 10, KK.
Yes, Leon the Sick One then taking the win. Dalking 2, CJB 3, Jardier 4, Benazidi 5, Nagram 6, Dakusa 7, Turing 8, ADAce 9, Villalobos 10, Rodders 11, JK 12, Typek 13, Gamasuki 14, Andrex 15, Scott 16, Shooter 17, Suomi 18, and we lost 3 cars. Bo was one of them. Bo 2 days, and I forgot. T-Mac.
Mac, yep.
Yeah, good call. And that is your finishers for this eve. Let's see. Should we see if anyone wants to talk to us?
We have a few people that I can see. We've got the top 4, in fact.
Wonderful. Let's get them in, shall we? So I sort out the music is a tad loud. That's better. Right. Let's grab them where they were. There they are. Right.
Congrats, Leon.
Right, hello gentlemen, thank you for joining us at the end of this race. Let us first talk to our championship leader, Jardier. That's the first time we haven't seen you on the podium. That didn't quite go your way this time.
Yeah, I was kind of struggling with the pace on this racetrack. You could see I was losing all the time on the straights. And yeah, the first couple of laps were really interesting. I think I had a very nice fight with CJ. And that was probably it, because I didn't enjoy the rest of the fight, because there was a lot of kind of unfair racing from my point of view. But otherwise, it was interesting to see. And then unfortunately I had a crash with CJ because like on my screen he almost stopped in a corner because Leon was going slower there, and there was some lag or something, and I kind of collected him there. So I'm very, very, very sorry for that. And then I had a 7 damage on my car and had to pit. And with the early tires, you know, I finished the race with like 2% of the tires or something like
wow.
that. So I was just after the early pit, I was just trying to survive, and yeah, it was very I was looking forward to the race, but in the end, it was very disappointed from my side.
Even the greats make mistakes. But speaking of, let's head over to CJB. It was a bit of a mixture race for you, CJ. What's your feelings after this one?
Yeah, I thought I had pretty good race pace. I was excited for the actual race, but Leon got past me, which was okay because I was planning on doing an undercut, and then I just got a bump from the rear there from Jardy, and it spun me around, and then that was pretty much it from there. Just tried to do the best I can to hold on to third because I had a 5-second penalty.
And third you managed to hang on to, so well done for that. Wouldn't it be better this week than it did for you last week, as you recall?
Definitely much better this week on the podium than last week.
Awesome. Well done. Good racing. And we look forward to the grand finale next week. Let's head over to Dow King. Led the way for a lot of the race. Was pit to the line this time. How are you feeling?
Disappointed, man. I got that one mistake, you know. It's going to be an epic battle at the end there because I was just pacing Leon, and I was just waiting because we was pulling away from CJ and Jardy. I was just going to wait for like the last 6 or 7 laps. So I know they couldn't have caught us, but I made one mistake. I just outbroke myself and I was in the grass.
Oh no!
Yeah, but good race. Congrats, Leon, and well done, Jardy, for the championship.
Great job. Well done, Dow King. And finally, our race winner, Leon. You must be a happy boy with that one.
Oh, that was an insane race. That was really, really great race. Intense. Dalkin was so rapid, and I really had to fight hard for it. And in the beginning, when I got second position, I was like, no, I don't want to be second. I want to be third. At least first or third, because in second, you're above the oval. You can't... third place will always overtake you. So I was a little bit disappointed. And the first laps was kind of intense. I had to brake a little bit for the guys in front, and CJ almost hit me, I think, and it was a little bit notchy. But after that, me and Dalkin got like a 2-second lead, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna try to overtake Dalkin. I just want to push and get away from CJ and Jardy. I think we had the same strat, and then later on try to overtake him. And I was wondering how his pace were, because I know that I had to go very slow in the corner part to not hit him and slow down my pace, and I think he did the same thing, so we must have been quite the same. And then I thought, okay, I'm gonna try to pit 1 lap earlier than him, because if I get a good pit stop I will come out in front, and I managed to just stop at him pit stop and got a great pit stop. And then I pushed hard until he made a mistake, and after that I was like, okay, it's calm. I just slowed my pace lap after lap, and the last 3 laps or something I just went safe and brought it home. Really great race from Dalkin there. He was so rapid.
Great stuff. Well done, Leon. Any questions your side, Yorkie?
Not really. I think everyone pretty much covered it.
Awesome. Now it is time to wrap it up for this week. Just one more race to go, and we'll be back here next week. Thank you to those that have been with us throughout the stream. A great pleasure to commentate for you guys. Thank you very much, Yorkie, for tolerating me in your commentary box once again.
That's okay.
I think somebody actually pointed out I've done over half of the season this tier. Bearing in mind this is the one I was actually going to skip entirely, but you know, the commentary bug got me again.
Yep.
Thank you very Go on.
I was going to say, yeah, it's just unfortunate me and Fizzy have had a couple of absences between us. But yeah, you're barred from coming in next week.
That's it. I am
back, and yep. I plan to be well and fit for next week as well.
Awesome.
So, sorry, my friend.
No, it's entirely fine. Thank you very much to our sponsors. Without you guys, AOR would not continue to grow the way it is, and we will be back for the grand finale next week. But until then, thank you very much, and good night.
Ciao.